YouTube, what is up? It's your boy, Sean Matrai here, discussing the ban list and briefly what I did in the KC Cup. So if you guys don't know, I played a lot of Stage 2 off stream. I was on vacation, so I didn't really get the chance to play on stream. We did it for a bit, but it was like iPad streams and it didn't really go as well. The one stream did, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I'm here to discuss to you how I did in the KC Cup, just in case anyone wants to know, and what I played, and what I think the ban list should be. So we got top 500 global. I didn't go as hard as I wanted to. We could have pushed for top 100 with Vendred, which would have been insane. But we got top 500, 380 global, which is really good with Vendred being a really off. I wouldn't even say rogue, because nobody even recognized this as a deck to begin with. So it's kind of like an off-base deck. So it really did well. I'm gonna finish the COD climb tonight, so if you want to see that live, we play Vendred on stream. Make sure you are followed. You like this video. Subscribe to YouTube and go follow me on Twitch, and I will be streaming on Twitch over there. So make sure you go follow that. That will be tonight. Anyway, that's that. Anyway, the ban list.
Just give it your
Let's
all
talk about what
duel.
cards should be banned.
I will carry on the will of Master Shin.
I must atone for my crimes.
I don't need to just go over here. Just make a deck.
We are the Paradox
Ignore
Brothers.
the Paradox Brothers. We're just gonna make a ban list over here. Alright. I'm gonna first start out. We're gonna go in smallest to largest. So what I mean is we're gonna start with the bans, and we're gonna go to the cards that I think should be unlimited at the last part. So we'll start out with the bans and then end with the unlimits. Okay. So starting out with the cards that I think should be banned, right off the bat, I don't think there's any bans here. I don't think Secrets needs to be banned. I don't think there's any card that needs to outright be banned. I don't look at the meta and I say, oh my gosh, this card needs to be banned. So that's done. We're going to go on to limit ones, and there are a few limit ones that could be assessed in this meta. I chose personally not to do it this way, but there is a few limit ones that could be addressed. Right off the bat, Ibli. I think this card should go to limit 1. I'm gonna agree. Kamel brought this up first. If you don't know Duel Links Entertainment, go follow them. I'll drop a link to their YouTube in the description below. Ibli is not a fair card. In many different strategies, it's not fair. Because the thing with Ibli is it promotes strategies for people to run unnecessary links in their extra deck. And it also makes it so Mech Knights can do some reasonably unfair plays. It makes them more consistent. And you may say, well, how is that the case? Well, Ibli makes it where if you open Blue Sky going first, it's a really good draw. So let me explain for all of you who've been hiding under a rock. If you don't know the Ibli Blue Sky combo, what you do is you normal summon Ibli, you give them the Ibli, you make Nightmare Mermaid. So you make this, and then you give them Ibli, you summon the Mermaid in that same column. Now you have two cards in that column, and you can special summon your Blue Sky, get your search for, could be purple, could be most likely indigo. Then you get your indigo, and then you make your Morning Star. I mean, most of you already know this, but, you know, for the people who do not know, who have been hiding under a rock, discard that indigo that you searched. Oh. And then you search your secrets. So this makes Blue Sky a really, really powerful open. Where is it? It's secret. Not secret. Oh, nope. So that makes Blue Sky a really powerful opener as well. Yeah, Ibly needs to go to 1 because that's not very healthy. There are going to be decks that come out in the future that are going to auto-lose to Ibly, and it's not going to be very pretty. Especially decks and skills that have restrictions. So, for example, you might have a skill in the game, like Quattro's skill, that restricts you only to Dark Exceeds. But if you have a skill like that, then you can't play Ibly out in the deck, so your deck automatically loses to Ibly. Not fun. If you play a deck that has an inherent restriction that, let's say, locks you into some type of or attribute of monster that you can sub for the rest of the turn, you can't out Ibly. Not fun. Think about a deck like Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss struggled to out Ibly. You have Darkhold being your really only out, and Rhino. If you do not draw any of those 2 outs, you cannot out Ibly. Not a good sign. So it's a very, very grimy road with Ibly. So I think Ibly should definitely go to 1. I'm going to leave it over here. So with that being illustrated, I think Ibly should go to 1. Hurts their consistency a little bit. And now, does it stop the deck overall? No, we have more hits coming. It does not stop Mech Knights overall, because Mech Knights still have the ability to use Swap Cleric, which will allow them to draw a card. But it's not as strong, I feel, as Ibly. I think Ibly is the better opener than Cleric, because it allows them to do way too much. Alright, next card is, we don't really, do we have any more limit ones? No, I don't have any other cards, I don't think. Oh, no, yes, I do. Never mind. Okay, so the next cards I have going to limit 1 are Finishing Move and Goki Rematch. So, where are you? Okay. So, these 2 cards I want to 1. The reason why we are putting Finishing Move and Goki Rematch to 1 is you should only be able to play one of these cards, not both. Think here, and you might say, is that a bit harsh? It's not harsh. Look at Salad. Right? You can only run one Gazelle or Roar. You can only play Gazelle or Roar. You cannot play both. You can't play both of these cards. So, I predict they're going to do something similar to Goki, being the most popular deck of the KC Cup, going on the KC Report, and that they did to Salad. I would expect Finishing Move and Rematch to get hit to 1. Because I think that you have to take away one thing, right? Goki can't have both. They shouldn't have the OTK ability, and they shouldn't have the control. They have to have one or the other. So if you're going to set up Master Ogre with Rematch and make all your plays, you do not get access to having Finishing Move. If you want the OTK ability, and you want the ability to go into big plays, kill your opponent, then you get the Finishing Move. But the main point is everyone nearly is going to take Rematch, which will take Finishing Move out of the deck, which is good. That we want out of the deck. I don't think Finishing Move is a fair card in the 4K format, because it allows your opponent to OTK at the drop of a hat under limited resources, and it's not very fun to lose to, especially since they can search it out of the deck for free. So, yes, Finishing Move and Rematch I predict to go to 1. Now, next on the hit of limitations, we're going to go to our semi-limits. And we do have a few, alright? So first things first, I am going to go into, let me think. No, not my semi-limits, my limit 3s. I didn't mean semi-limits. Alright, we're going to go into limit 3s. Now these are cards that I feel in the current metagame should be at 3. And we are going to talk about Blue Sky. There's a lot of them here. Blue Sky and Memories. These two cards make it very difficult for your opponent to be able to, these two cards make it Mech Knights utterly consistent. So, they have 9 starters with Ibly, especially. You have blue, purple, and memory. So, you have so many ways to go first and just really dominate your opponent on that front, right? To get your secret set up, get your indigo set up. I think we need to see a consistency hit here. I think the most, and I know a lot of people are going to say the most toxic card in the deck is secret. I disagree. I think the most toxic card in Mech Knights is memory. Memory is their most toxic card because it's a quick play that allows them to access purple at any time or whatever Mech Knight they want. It allows them with secret to set up 3 columns. You can search purple, discard purple, and then get 2 purples, and then be able to banish purple out of it and get ridiculous things with it. I think secret is very toxic in the deck, especially with generating card advantage and getting bodies on the field. Even though it locks you in the mechs, it's still very, very powerful when you're able to keep the pressure on and keep purple out, and it really helps dominate with secrets even when they don't have indigo. That's why I'd rather see this than indigo going to 1. Indigo going to 1 is the play too, because then they can't use it with secrets and lock out all your zones. But in my opinion, if you lock out 2 of the zones, it's still very powerful. And even if they're doing that, if they have memory at 3 with multiple back row, then they're still going to have an effect negation with multiple back row available to them. So I'd rather see this go to 3. But yeah, memory, for all those who are saying indigo goes to 1, that's also a very good idea as well. Indigo going to 1 is also a very, very good hit as well. I know my boy Steven pointed that out. That's an excellent idea. I just prefer this hit. Also, putting these cards both to 3 takes all their limit 3 back row out of the deck. Alright, now you may say, this is a harsh hit. Yeah, you had 2 KC Cups with mechs. It's time to get the slap on the wrist off the hands. It's time to get the big whack, as we would say. It's time to get the big whack. I truly believe that these 2 cards should go to 3, and we should take the limit 3 back row out of the deck. So cards like IDP, Compulse, Crackdown, those cards should not be played in Mech Knights, because it's very toxic with all the back row that they already have already. IDP is super duper strong in Mech Knights because of the mirror match, and well, it's not really because of the mirror match. The mirror match is irrelevant. But what makes IDP so strong is that they can set up other back row alongside it. So, for example, you have secrets, and then you can back it up with cards like IDP, which make it a lot stronger than some other decks that rely on that as its only option. But if you use it as supplementary back row to whatever you have, it makes IDP very, very powerful in that deck. So, there is that in a box of cherries. Also, the ability to really just clear over their monsters very easily, get their monsters in the grave, and set up IDP becomes that much stronger. So yeah, I do think that when it comes down to push comes to shove, IDP is as strongest than Mech Knights, and it needs to be stomped. Okay, next, Infernoids. Yes, I do think Infernoids need a hit. Infernoids are not a fun deck to face. Okay, they're not a fun deck. A lot of people do not like the deck because they set up their trap, Void Feast turn 1, and then a lot of people lose because they can't out Decatron with a monster negate and vanish, being Deviati, and them being able to swarm the board in the following turn, link summon, and kill you. And you don't know how to beat this deck. I'm going to tell you what needs to go. So, the hit I would like to see is, I would like to see Decatron and Vanishment or Feast go to 3. This deck is at its most powerful when they hard open Decatron. When they hard open it, it becomes even more powerful. I think that reality, if you put these cards bolt to 3, then it limits their ability to grind you out with a second copy of Feast. So they can have their one Feast, but they cannot have multiple. Okay, so if you put this to 3, I mean, they could have multiple, but they're gonna have to make a choice here. If they want to have multiple Feasts with multiple Decatron, they're gonna have to cut down to the consistency of them running Void Vanishment. So, for example, if you put these cards both to 3, okay, there's a few things that happen here. First of all, if they want the more consistent route, they're gonna have to run 2 Vanishment and 1 Decatron. Okay, which means that they're only gonna be able to resolve 1 Feast. Okay, so keep this in mind. Second, if you put these 2 cards to 3, if you hit Decatron, alright, their turn 2 becomes a lot worse. Because now their consistency at seeing both Vanishment and Decatron goes down considerably. So they can't normal summon like Decatron, out your MST with Petrulia, and then be able to continue playing the game. They're going to have to hard lose the MST more. So the upside of playing Infernoids goes down considerably. So this is a very, very good hit for Infernoids. It keeps them at check. Will they be able to resolve their 1 copy of Feast? Sure. Will they be able to resolve multiple copy of Feast? No. Likely not. Okay, so this is, or if they want to do that, their consistency is going to be in the toilet because they're going to only have 1 Banishment in the deck and hope not to open up another double copy of Decatron because then they can't resolve their Feast out anyway, twice. So it's a very, very good hit, I feel, to keep Infernoids in check. So that's a good hit. That's what I would do to the deck. Slow down the pace of the deck. That's where this needs to be done. Okay, next deck that I know a lot of people are going to come at me with, and for rightfully so, Photon. Now I know I'm going to get it. I know I'm gonna hit this deck considerably, and I know a lot of people are gonna. She's around the deck and never wins tournaments. She always does. She always makes it fun what she uses. Doesn't do it on. Overall, the game relies not only in tournament competitions. I think a lot of us top tier players who play in tournaments, play highly in KC Cups, and you don't see a lot of Photon, you say, yeah, the deck doesn't need to be hit. It's not doing anything in tournaments. But you're going to understand, in order for Duel Links to be a successful game, it needs to be successful in all facets of the game, and including the rank ladder, alright, needs to be taken into consideration because you want to enjoy the game. If the game is for the average duelist, a rank climb, and going up against turn 1 Photon Lord, playing whatever deck they want to play, not everyone's going to play top tier meta. Some people want to, have fun with the game. Climb with something more fun. Something like maybe Vendread, I don't know. Well, Vendread can beat Photon, but it's not the point. Somewhat of their funner decks. It's not all meta driven, competitive level. I think also Photon's an annoying deck because Lord is very hard to beat for some decks. Look at Water, being an example. That's why they run Sui in the deck, because that's really their only out. So Photon Lord. They also, it can be difficult to beat for Mech Knights. Mech Knights do have ways like IDP and stuff like that to get around Photon Lord. And Book of Moon and stuff like that. Chalice that could deal with it. But overall, it's not a really fun card to face. I think it's kind of unbalanced in the game. Being able to set up a turn 1 negate with a search is very powerful. But on top of that, what I think makes the deck kind of unfair is that you have the ability to have a turn 2 that can set up multiple revives. Like their turn 2 is just explosive as their turn 1, right? So they can kind of play for whatever coin flip they have and be able to set up like multiple revives and kind of push through the boards that you may have. So I think that part is kind of unfair. And I think there's multiple ways you can approach it. I would like the deck to get a considerable nerf because the deck has been around since May. It's been around for over 6 months, and I think it's time for a change of scenery on the rank ladder as well as in tournament play. So here is my hit for Galaxy Eyes, and I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me for this, but this is what I feel needs to be done. These both going to 3. Full Armor and Cipher Blade. They should not have 15 revives. Now, there's another way to hit the deck as well. You don't have to hit this deck this aggressively. We could also go along the sides of hitting this. If you don't want to hit the deck that aggressively, you could also hit the deck like this. You could put Shuffle Reborn, and you can hit... Well, I guess this kind of hits it aggressively, but a little bit of consistency in there. 0 to 3. So if we want to keep the exceeds at bay, then you got to do this. Shuffle Reborn in Galaxy 0 to 3. Now, by hitting this to 3, you limit the consistency of the deck. And Shuffle Reborn is the card I want to see get hit. Because this card makes Galaxy Eye's ability to summon multiple big beat sticks a lot easier. If you put these both to 3, that means that, not that they really run any limit 3 techs in the deck anyway, but that means that their consistency of opening a revive goes down significantly. And that means they cannot run 3 Shuffle Reborns in the deck. So they can't Shuffle Reborn their own Exceed, to activate another Shuffle Reborn, and then be able to go absolute hamburger on that turn. Alright? Also, if Galaxy 0 goes to 3, they only have about 1 to 2 copies of Galaxy 0, which limits the consistency of them opening a revival spell. So they have more reliant on Expedition that way. So this puts a lot more reliance on them resolving Expedition, thus this being much more effective of a deck. So much more of a, effective of a hit, I should say. You could go after the Exceeds. I know I brought this up before, but if you go after the Exceeds, the problem is if we hard go after the Exceeds, it might be too much of a hit, I feel. If you want to go hard after their Exceed summoning, it might be too much of a hit. If you hit Full Armor and now that I think about it, going after Full Armor and Cipher Blade might just kill the deck, because then they don't, really have multiple bodies to extend through. They don't have the ceiling. So, that might be a way it gets approached. I know a lot of people are going to get angry at that. The other benefit of doing that is that you lock other decks out of playing them, particularly the Limit 3 engine, which is also a good idea. Because then they're, like, other decks may not play that engine, given that they already have Limit 3's hit, like Mech Knights, that, for example, that I put up, and they abuse the Photon engine. So that's another thing in EDD as well. But having these 2 cards go to 3 would make me happy, because it would limit their revival consistency. It cuts down the consistency of them opening 0 or opening multiple copies of revives. And that would be very good. I think Photon needs some kind of a hit here, because it's a bit ridiculous how it's been going on for months. So I think just to balance out the game, that would be a good hit. Bring Shuffle Reborn and 0 to 3. Now, alongside that, you also have cards that I think can be unlimited. And there's a ton. Alright, I'm not going to go over every single card. I'm going to hit cards that have been recent over the metas in the past, and I think that could come off. I know there's gonna be some bias. There's bias in every video, right? Every player has their own favorite deck, so there's gonna be a little bit of bias. So forgive me if you see a little bit of bias. Wind and Elder can come off the ban list. Ritual Beasts aren't doing anything. They haven't done anything. They haven't been in any tournaments. They haven't won any KC Cups. They haven't got top 100 in any KC Cups. Heck, I don't even think they got even top 500 in any KC Cups. The deck can come off the ban list. The idea of Invoke Neos should be way gone in the past. Konami should not be feeling Alistair at this point. There's a lot more things that are more dangerous in this game at this point than Alistair. Including Mech Knights and, Infernoids. So, I think, honestly, Having these 2 cards come off the ban list is fine. Elder and Winda and come off. Would that give Ritual Beast access to limit 3 back row? Yes. Yes, it would. I think that Ritual Beast could have access to it and wouldn't be much of an issue. If their play is to open up Con Orc and set 2 back row, that's not going to win the game anyway. If their play is to set Winda and set more back row, that might win the game. But it makes Ritual Beast somewhat competitive. A little bit more competitive than what they've been. They still hard lose to Abyss Dweller, and they still hard lose to other things. But I think as overall, Ritual Beast can come up the ban list and get some of the consistency. What would be the danger in doing this? Many people may say, what's their link? How dangerous can they be coming off the ban list? The only danger to ever freeing Ritual Beast is if they got both Win and Steeds. They cannot have both. I can tell you as a Ritual Beast god myself, they cannot have both. If they have both is an issue, because that's going to allow them to set up 2 pop boards. Almost, they'd be able to go full combo very consistently and set up 2 TTHs in another back row. That would make the deck very unbalanced. I can tell you right off the bat, Ritual Beast would become very unbalanced at that point. They cannot have that. They could maybe get 1 of the 2. They could probably have Win or Steeds, but they cannot have both. That cannot happen. But other than that, right now in the current game, Wind and Elder can come off the ban list. Also, I do think that the ban list. I'm trying to think what else. Okay. Karakuri can get freed a bit. Nobody's playing Karakuri. Merchant. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh no, they're going to get Merchant back going turn 1. All I would say with Karakuri is keep their back row in check. That's it. That's the only thing. They can have their board set up, but they cannot have the back row. Like Compulse, Crackdown, whatever. They cannot have that. But they can have a little bit of consistency. I think we could see Insaiichi maybe go to 3, and then you hit Ninishi at 3 as well. Maybe that could happen. I just want them in some way, or if you free Ninishi, that's fine as well. Just in some way that they don't have the limit 3 back row. They can have IDP and they can have Crackdown Compulse. Other than that, they can be free. That's fine. Some other decks that could come off, I think, are Lunalight a bit. Lunalight lose to a lot of things in the meta, specifically IDP. Lunalight die hard to IDP because it does not target. So all you have to do is take 1 Beast Warrior, it doesn't matter. Fox, Martin, Bird in their grave, summon it, banish their Saber Dancer, and they are not a happy camper. I think that they could get a little bit of hits off. I know a lot of people would be scared if they had 3 Tenki, 3 Martin, 3 Bird. But seeing them be consistent at what they do would be kind of nice. I think Lunalights can come off the ban list. They're not really doing anything. As a whole, I think it would be nice. Maybe they could get... I think Fox definitely can come off. I don't think Fox is an issue anymore. I don't think so. I know people are going to be worried about Neos Fusion and the OTK potential that this card has behind it. But I think we're way past that point in this game. I think there's a lot more dangerous things happening here. Look at Goki, right? They have finishing move, and they can do it with you being in defense. So, it is what it is, I guess. I guess if you wanted to keep it in check a little bit more, you could do that. But I don't honestly think taking Crimson Fox off does nothing. If you want to do something, what you can do is you can take, maybe Martin off. Keep Martin on, and then, or Bird on, and then take one of these off and put Fox to 3, and kind of change it around, just so that way they have more consistency. But then less OTK ability with Fox. So you have access to that. But overall, I think one of or one of Martin can come off it, I think we'd be in a good spot. And you could swip that around with Fox and still free some Lunar Lights a bit. So I'll put them down here, because I think that they could get a change on. Another deck is Crystron. Impact, I think they could come back to full power. Crystron is shown not to have done anything. They can't do anything. Another deck that loses hard to IDP. They're all water machines. So the minute you summon something out, they can banish yourself out of the grave, which is very, very bad. They can even chain and just summon yourself. Take it. And then you can't do anything with it. So another deck that's severely vulnerable to IDP, I feel. Because you're always going to have Trons in the grave that you can summon. And overall, I think in the heavy back row meta, I think this deck struggles. But I think it's a fun cog deck nonetheless. So I think Crystron can get Citry off and Impact off. And I think the deck will be completely fine. I think everything could just come off the ban list. And everyone could just play Crystrons as they will. So I think this deck comes fully off. And you go fully off Circle. So I'm going to put Impact. Everything goes to 3. I'll tell you this, when I cog with Trons, I didn't even play Citry. That's how much I didn't even play. I didn't even need it. You could take that off and it does really nothing. And Impact can come to 3. I know people are going to be worried, targeting protection, blah, blah, blah. But Crystron, overall, are not fast enough to keep up with the game. Their turn 1 isn't good enough to keep up with the game. I know Paladin Zectron is quite good, but the problem with them is that Amatrix loses to Lynx. So the minute you Lynx summon, you can't change Lynx to defense, right? That was one of their main defensive ways. Paladin Zectron is quite good. The problem with it is that by the time you stall out winning Zectron, they're setting 3 or 4 back row, and you're going to lose to the back row. You could lose to Needle Sealing. You could lose to just blowing them out on field with Needle Sealing, and then you're in a situation to where your field gets wiped out with Needle Sealing, and then you end up losing the game. So it's a deck that could lose heavily to back row regardless. Is it good against Goki if you go first? Well, they can't out-decay you, sure. But if they could set up Master Ogre with back row, that might be good enough for you to stop you on the crackback. So, you know, things like that Crystron could lose to. It would make them a lot more competitive having 3 impacts, though. I think it would be interesting. But overall, competitive-wise, I think they could get some of their stuff back. Next deck, 6 Samurai. Now, I know a lot of people love this deck. I know my really good friend Emma Valentine, she's the queen of 6 Samurai. What could come off the ban list? Honestly, I don't know, because the thing is, you gotta think, what can they do? What's their strongest turn 1 in today's meta? Setting up Shien with Anishi, maybe double Shien and Nishi. And that would be kind of harsh in today's meta. You gotta think of what Shien stops in today's meta, right? Think about how many decks rely on spells and traps. Well, Mech Knights really don't care, right? Because they can just throw a bunch of beaters and try to attack over you anyway. But Infernoids would lose instantly, because if you set up a double Shien, even if they have the Decatron, they kind of hard lose to you, negating their Vanishment. Code Talker, if you negate Mining, that was another top tier deck that was played. Yeah, that kind of stinks for them. Goki, if you negate Rematch, yeah, that's not really good. Negating Rematch is kind of bad for them. So, you know, that's another way you could slow them down. So, yeah, I don't know about how hard I would take 6 Samurai off. I think that there's too many decks that rely a lot on Spell and Traps. A lot of Spell and Trap searches in the game as well. Think Starry Nights, right? Circle. There's a lot of cards, Rhoda, that searches out, that decks rely on consistency for. So I wouldn't be so fast to kick 6 Samurai and get them to boot off the man list. So, you know, I think they're fine where they are. I mean, they're not doing anything either, so it's really hard. Let me see. I guess, well, right now they have Dojo and Anishi limited, so it's kind of, maybe you could swap dojo around for United so they can be a little bit more consistent but not have to draw to? Maybe. That's a maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's maybe. Just so you can have a little bit more consistency in playing the deck. Okay. Anyway. That's about that. I don't think there's any other decks right off the top of my mind that Konami hasn't unbanned that they should be doing. Oh, wait, there's one more. It just came to me. Thunder Dragons. One more. What should Konami do with this deck? Okay, honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. Dark should be off the ban list. There is no reason this should be on the ban list. Thunder Dragons are... I'm a little bit biased. I do like Thunder Dragons, but they are unplayable with Dark at 3. Okay, not a soul in this game is playing a deck that can be really fun with Link Summoning on this list. Not a soul is playing Thunder Dragons because Dark is at 3. Also, another card that's getting 0 gameplay, by the way. Oh, by the way. Is a selection box card. Dad. Dark Arm Dragon. Okay? Now, I know everyone's gonna go, oh no, if you take Dark on the bed, everyone's gonna run Dark Arm Dragon in the deck. Alright. Everyone can play Dark Arm Dragon or Leviathan here in the deck. But the reality is, like, for this deck, it should be remotely competitive. I think the competitive standards should be there for this deck. And it's just not. They don't have Colossus. They don't have Titan. I'm not frightening yet because of this. But I think Dark should be off the ban list. I think they should have an opportunity. Remember, Melody... Isn't Melody at 3 too? Let me see. Yeah, Melody is at 3. So they can't play Melody. They only will be able to play Melody or Leviathan. Which, in my opinion, is fine. They should get Leviathan back. The deck should have some sort of playability. They won't be able to play Melody if they get Dark off. So they're not going to be super consistent dropping the Leviathan on you. Alright? Or the Dark Arm Dragon. But my opinion is they should have access to one of them. Alright? Thunder Dragon, you want them to have a win con. And they should have a win con. And by having Dark at 3, they can't play at all. So, one of these cards, I think Dark should completely come off. I think Dark to Infinity is fine. And I think that would put us in a happy game state. So to quickly recuperate on the main hits, because I know you see 100 cards in the ban list, I am going to take off the cards that I say it should be free. And just get back to where we are. Also, that's another thing. If you're not taking Dark off the ban list, if you want to keep Dark at 3 and you really don't want them to use Levy, take Dark Arm Dragon off the Limit 3 list. It's not doing anything. So one of those needs to go. One way or the other. Alright. But here is the main ban list. 0. Shuffle Reborn to 3. Memories. And Blue to 3. Take out the Limit 3 back row so everyone cannot play this. If you do not know what I mean by the Limit 3 back row, I mean IDP, I mean Compulse, and I mean Crackdown. When I say Limit 3 back row, this is exactly what I mean. Alright, so Limit 2s, I don't think we had any. Yeah, we had none at Limit 2. And then the Limit 1s, I had Rematch, Ibley, finishing move. Now, one other thing I want to bring up before we end this is that a lot of people talked about this. Should Headback go to 3? The answer to me is I don't think it's necessary. If you hit finishing move, I don't think you need to kill their consistency. You want Goki to be viable. I think that as long as you put Rematch and finishing move both to 1, I think Headback to 3 is not needed. I think they can have access to their back row to an extent. Because I think once you break through their Master Ogre, they really don't have much left. You can do this. They might do it anyway. I think, honestly, it could be done anyway. You know, I could see why people want this to 3, so they can't put a limit 3 back row. And that's fine. I could understand it. So if this went to 3, I wouldn't be upset. I could understand why. I think it would be fine. But I just wanted to address that point. These are the main things that I think I want to see. Also, by doing this, you take Rhoda out of the deck as well. The hits that I did. So they cannot play Rhoda at any standard, which it's a little bit of inconsistency on that front as well. Other than that, I think I've covered everything that I want to cover. I'm going to put a pause to this video here. I'm going to stop here. I hope to see you all tonight. I think we'll be streaming around 8 o'clock EST, Vendred's to Cog. So I would love for you all to be there. We're going to do an exciting run tonight. We're going to hope to get it. And then start Ritual Beast. That's going to be our next run. And that should be a really fun run. If you guys need help learning how to play Ritual Beast, I'm here for that. Keep that in mind. And now, my closing thing, and I just totally forgot to bring this up. Should needle sealing be at 3? And the answer to me is no, because I don't want to shut down all back row implications in the game. So that's that. And remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, Sean Matrai signing out. Peace.